These days, chickens, cats, and an arthritic old dog had declared the weedy yard in front of the larger two-story white farmhouse their private domain. A rusted plow and an old-fashioned refrigerator with the cooling coils on top sat on the edge of the yard, remnants from the farm before it had been deserted by the owners long ago. The enormous garden was in back. They were dutiful about keeping it plentiful. No matter how much pot, acid, and cheap wine filled the night, they were up early to work their land. They'd planted corn, carrots, beets, spinach, lettuce, and cabbage. Using a battered wood-fired stove, they also baked bread. That was another surprise. One of them gave me a slice with strawberry jam on it one day, and damned if it didn't taste good. I snapped off the ignition key and slid out of the new Ford convertible I'd bought after my old Ford ragtop got too expensive to keep fixing up. Or maybe I got it to signal my father, who died 3 years ago, that in my 30s I was finally becoming the man he'd wanted me to be. Now, as I stood under the glowing span of moon and stars, a song by Buffalo Springfield began streaming from the main house. A breeze fresh as a first kiss made me close my eyes for a moment and ride along with it to long-ago summers when my red Ford ragtop and the lovely Pamela Forrest had been my primary concerns. When I turned to look at the house, I saw Richard Donovan coming down the steps. His father was a colonel in the army, and Richard had inherited his military bearing. Richard even had a uniform of sorts, blue work shirt, brown or black corduroy trousers. They were always clean. The girls usually wound up doing the laundry for the boys. Feminism, the new ism, had yet to make its mark on this commune. But Richard did his own. I'd seen him hanging his own shirt and a pair of trousers on the clothesline one day. He told me he didn't trust anybody else to keep his stuff the way he wanted it. In the windows on either side of the front door, faces watched us silently. Whatever had happened out here, everybody knew about it, and they were waiting to see how I was going to react when Richard finally told me what was going on. He was handsome in a severe, gaunt way. There was something of the Old West in the face, pioneer stock, I suppose, and now anxiety filled the blue eyes and bulged the hinges of his jaw. "We have an audience, Richard. They're scared." "Of what?" "Of what I'm going to show you. They're like little children. If I wasn't here, this place wouldn't exist." Nobody would ever accuse Donovan of being modest, or having a sense of humor. He was the absolute lord and master of this place, as well as the final arbiter. The first few times he paid me to represent him, he didn't seem to have a job, so I wondered where the cash came from. He lectured me on how the country was going to be once the government abdicated and people like him took over. I didn't like him much, and I suspected the feeling was mutual. His gaze roamed to the tumble-down, once red barn downslope from us. In my high school summers, I detasseled corn, the hottest and hardest work I'd ever done, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., in temperatures frequently rising to 100. By noon, you'd eaten your weight in bugs. At the end of the day, waiting for the bus to take us day laborers back to town, I'd always throw myself on any amount of hay I could find in the cooling barn and go instantly to sleep. This barn, however, looked as though it might collapse on me while I slept. He nodded in the direction of the lopsided structure and started walking. The ground here was hard and lightly sand-covered. The voices from the watchers grew louder as the music stopped. Some of them were on the porch now. They knew a lot more about what was going on than I did.